ruined my life with food, binge eating, and lack of self-care.
Dead at 28.
You ready to get supersized?
Passed away at 37.
Today I've got the big Fruit Loop.
Died at just 33. Body positivity, a movement of acceptance, reducing stigma, and celebrating all body shapes and sizes. It gave voices to those unheard. But this story is different. What happened in those rare cases when acceptance turned into denial, and when the pursuit of popularity led to tragedies? But where did it all begin? Year 1967. A young man, Bill Fabry, opens up a Saturday Evening Post newspaper. One headline catches his eye: "More people should be fat." At the moment, Bill is dealing with discrimination faced by his overweight wife. Fast forward to 1969. Bill starts the National Association to Aid Fat Americans, or NAFA for short. Here's what he had to say about this, reflecting from current days.
I met a woman in Ithaca named Joyce, and, I really became intimately familiar with all the crap that she put up with. The first thing had to do with parents' reluctance to accept the idea that I actually wanted to marry somebody who's fat. We needed to get a marriage license, and in the state of New York at that time, you needed a blood test. So somebody gave her the name of a doctor, and she went to see the doctor. He said, "What can I do for you?" She said, "I need a blood test in order to get married." And he was astonished, and he looked at her and he said, "Who would want to marry you?"
In the 1970s, a group of California feminists, dissatisfied with the moderate approach of NAFA, formed the Fat Underground.
We demand good health care. The Fat Underground has done quite a bit of medical research, looking at figures in the original papers, not just abstracts in journals.
They believed that fat liberation was essential for achieving true gender equality, and called out the diet and fashion industries for their exploitive practices.
We are a group of radical fat feminist women. We see our oppression as fat women as being inherent to sexism. We are an activist group who do public speaking, facilitate problem-solving groups for fat women, and generally try to publicly bring out suppressed medical information as well as offer support to other fat women.
Their main document, the Fat Liberation Manifesto, published in 1973, demanded equal rights for fat people.
We believe that fat people are fully entitled to human respect and recognition. We are angry at mistreatment by commercial and sexist interests. We demand equal rights for fat people in all aspects of life.
But alongside the demands for equal rights, the manifesto was filled with loaded slogans as well.
Fat people of the world, unite! You have nothing to lose.
Remembering the early days of the movement, one of its members, Sarah Golda Braca Fishman, wrote an article remembering Fat Underground's rhetoric at the time.
Doctors are the enemy. Weight loss is genocide.
Was only one of their slogans. Such rhetoric was aimed at getting the people's attention, but the media wasn't having it.
The networks use doctors to present medical facts about the dangers of being fat. We unrepentant fatties were featured only for human interest. As soon as we attempted to present our own medical facts, filming would stop, and the next guest would replace us on the recording stage.
Regardless, the progress was very slow. One founding member who left explained,
"It will take too long to change society's ideas about fat, and I want to put my efforts where I'll see success in my lifetime."
Other Fat Underground members reminisced about the movement's accomplishments.
In the beginning, people giggled when we talked about fat liberation. Now, there are hundreds of thousands of fat activists and allies all over the world.
But some things do change over time. And now we arrive at the current day. Body positivity now promotes a fundamental value of self-acceptance. It offers crucial support to people of all body sizes, including those struggling with eating disorders like anorexia. So, tying the movement directly to plus size isn't entirely accurate. It's a result of social media personalities who became the most outspoken about it. Influencers like Tess Holliday, who founded the popular hashtag #FYourBeautyStandards, have used platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, and others to challenge societal norms and promote body acceptance. Social media has allowed the body positivity movement to flourish. creating communities where people can share their stories and support one another. As the movement grew online, it began to spread through mainstream culture. From magazine covers to major advertising campaigns, body positivity became a phenomenon that challenged traditional beauty standards across the globe. Companies and media outlets started to recognize the power of inclusivity. Campaigns like Decathlon's #LeggingsForEverybody, documentaries such as Embrace, media guidelines have also evolved to address the language used in discussing obesity and body image. The body positivity movement has achieved significant milestones and empowered many. However, tragedies started to emerge. The dark side of body positivity. Several high-profile body positivity influencers have died young. Brittany Sauer was fighting tirelessly for her right to be heard. She was suffering from eating disorders, which led to extreme obesity.
I ruined my life with food, binge eating, and lack of self-care.
Brittany passed away shortly after posting this video. She suffered from type 2 diabetes and skin infections directly linked to her weight. Taylor LeJeune, not a positivity activist, but a popular social media persona nonetheless. He gained popularity by creating extreme eating videos. Fame-seeking led him to creating bizarre food content, including eating tinned ham from the 1960s. He died the very same day when this video was posted. The cause of death, according to his brother, was a presumed heart attack. Jamie Lopez, who participated in Supersized Salon, claimed she was discriminated against for being plus size. Even though she remained an outspoken body positivity persona, she decided to turn around her entire life and take care of her health. She eventually lost 400 pounds, which was half her body weight. However, years of obesity critically affected her health, leading to heart complications and death at 37. These tragic stories draw a grim picture of what happens when body positivity mixes with denial of medical advice and the urge to seek attention by any means necessary. The realization and decision to change might arrive too late. Despite its positive intentions, the body positivity movement has faced criticism for turning toxic.
I think it's celebrating a dangerous health condition. And if you're an influencer, why would you want to influence people to think that that is A, funny, entertaining, and B, something they want to do?
Movement's supporters were accused of promoting unhealthy lifestyles and silencing people who choose to lose weight. For example, when celebrities like Adele lose weight, they are sometimes branded as traitors to the movement. When this happened, tweets such as these were abound.
Celebrating Adele's weight loss is a garbage thing to do for a million reasons. Here are two. 1. It tells your fat friends you think their bodies are a problem to be solved. 2. The weight loss could be the result of physical or mental health struggles. Weird to cheer about.
Tess Holliday has expressed her internal conflict about making healthier choices. In the cover story of Self magazine, to assist with these life changes and help herself feel better mentally, Holliday has also begun eating differently. She worries that her fans and followers might take this shift in the wrong way, and is quick to clarify, "I'm still gonna eat Cheetos and all of that." On the other side of the aisle, health experts argue that the movement's extreme elements undermine the importance of addressing obesity-related health risks.
Health at every size movement is an overall net positive, net negative, or neither.
That very line, healthy at every size, is not actually true. Can there be people at any size who are healthy at that moment? Yes. But is it true that no matter what your size, you're always able to be healthy? Like, that's not true.
What does the future of body positivity look like? The deaths of body positivity influencers are stark reminders of the tragic consequences when the movement's message is taken to extremes. Beyond personal health, the economic impact of obesity is staggering. In the early 1960s, roughly 13% of Americans were considered obese. Today, that number has soared to nearly 43%. It's the second leading cause of preventable death in the United States. Extreme obesity can shave up to 14 years off a person's life expectancy. By 2030, if current trends continue, obesity-related medical costs in the U.S. alone could rise by an additional $48 to $66 billion annually. This figure includes both direct medical expenses and indirect costs. The direct costs of obesity encompass outpatient and inpatient health services, laboratory tests, surgeries, and drug therapies. Indirect costs include lost workdays, lower productivity, higher life insurance premiums, and lowered household incomes. Some research has shown that obese employees miss more days from work due to short-term absences, long-term disability, and premature death compared to their non-obese counterparts. Maybe a sugar tax is the answer to the obesity crisis.
So the economic logic behind a sugar tax is basically very simple. Demand curves slope downward, which means that people buy less of something when it is more expensive. So if you think that the people who are currently buying sugary drinks are likely to buy less of them when the price goes up, which is a reasonable presumption if demand curves slope downward, then this tax would encourage at least some people to not buy as many sugary drinks.
However,
I want to talk about the fact that sugar intake in the United States has been declining for the last 20 years. So it peaked in 1999, and it is currently, depending on which source of evidence you believe, 15 to 23% lower than it was in 1999. And of course, we know that obesity has increased, diabetes has increased substantially over the last 20 years.
countries around the world are starting to recognize the financial burden of obesity. In response, some have introduced policies to combat the epidemic. For example, Colombia has implemented a junk food law that taxes ultra-processed foods. This law targets food high in salt, sugar, and saturated fats, with the aim of reducing consumption and improving public health. The tax is gradually increasing, starting at 10% and expected to reach 20% by 2025. Denmark introduced such a law in 2011 and abandoned it after only 15 months. Many people in Denmark simply went over the border to Germany and Sweden to buy junk food. However, these policies often face significant opposition from the food and beverage industries. Some health professionals advocate for a balanced approach that includes promoting healthy habits without stigmatizing those who struggle with their weight.
We need to celebrate people for who they are, celebrate people for the actions they take. If they serve as good role models, celebrate those people as humans and respect them as humans. And at the same time, we can give them access to potentially lose weight, to make other changes in their lives that have nothing to do with weight that can make them healthier.
The focus should be on creating supportive environments that enable individuals to lead healthier lives without fear of judgment or discrimination. And in the end, education about health risks is key. We should raise awareness about the health implications of obesity without shaming or stigmatizing individuals unnecessarily.